What's up guys, my name is JDCook5 and welcome to the Chelsea vs Crystal Palace review, where Chelsea opened up the opening weekend of the Premier League with a 0-0 draw. Before we do get into this video, if you haven't done so already, please hit that like button, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and don't forget to also hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Chelsea 0, Crystal Palace 0. Can't say it was the most exciting way to open up the Premier League weekend, I have to say, in a game that was pretty uneventful, in a game that was pretty boring, in a matter of fact. You could say that the start was very, very tame. There was a moment, obviously, where we conceded a free kick, and it was a well-deserved free kick from a very, very close range. And one stepped, it kind of got past to Eze, and he absolutely thunderbolted it into the back of the net. And at that point, we thought we were 1-0 down, and that was it. There were some complaints from some players about a foul that Mark Guy actually was impeding one of the players, and that did get overturned. So that went back to 0-0, but I can't say that anything really else happened in the game. I think Mateta had a half chance where Robert Sanchez made a save, but it was just so tame, very just kind of evenly matched to a degree where both sides didn't really know what to do and both sides were matching themselves in that way. It was tough. I think it was just one of those where it was a season opener where we just didn't really kind of shine whatsoever. I think what we've seen from the Club World Cup and the previous pre-season games against AC Milan and Leverkusen, we hadn't really seen that. There was no real intensity, there was no real pace, a lot of sloppy passing, a lot of poor decision making. It was just really, really just tame. There's not a lot to describe it, and this is going to be very short and sweet in fairness, because there just wasn't really a lot that happened in the game itself. Chelsea didn't create enough, Crystal Palace didn't create enough, apart from that moment in the first half where obviously they had a goal disallowed. They didn't really seem to really push. Even though that Chelsea had 19 shots, they were only having 3 on target, with 12-4 on target for Crystal Palace. Chelsea having 71% compared to their 29%, so you can see that Chelsea had the ball, but they just couldn't do anything with it. And then 19 shots, it sounds like we were all over it and we were really, really pushing, but they just were really, really poor attempts, in fairness. There were moments where Malo Gusto came in the second half, he blasted one over the bar. Santos could have snatched one right at the end, but he completely snatched at the play. There just wasn't really anything going for the game, and unfortunately it was just one of those where it was just a poor season opener, in fairness. And it's just, yeah, it's very strange. And it was like even the VAR goal, after review, away number 6 is less than 1 metre away from the wall after the shot is taken. So yeah, it's a very strange rule. I thought it was very soft, and I thought Crystal Palace were done very hard by that particular moment in time. VAR just kind of getting intervened at that moment in time, and yeah, I'd be very annoyed if I was a Crystal Palace fan and had that ruled out, that's for sure. But yeah, I can't say we should take too much from it, in fairness. It's one of those where we knew that we was going to have somewhat of a slow start to the season to some degree, with players getting integrated and so on. There's a lot of excitement surrounding the club at this moment in time with the recent achievements, don't get me wrong, but at the same time it's just about kind of holding out for these moments and kind of seeing when it gels. I thought Josh Akipong being thrown in at the deep end, I thought he didn't do too bad. Do we need a new centre-back? Yes we do. He's not going to go for the whole season playing X amount of games, I don't believe. I know they've got confidence in him, and I think he's a confident player. But if we're going to have injuries left, right and centre, and we're going to have players that we can't rely on, and in fairness, I just don't think it's viable for him to constantly be playing and put such kind of large opportunity and large risk on such a young person's shoulders. I feel like he will become a good player in time, and I feel like he is a very good player in somewhat at the same time, but it's a very hard one to digest, and I know it's a very sticky situation at the club so far. But it wasn't the worst of games that I've seen in a Chelsea shirt, but I have to say it probably wasn't the best. And that was the way to look at it. There's no point being negative, there's no point being down about it. It's the first game of the season, and there's still a lot to get games to go, that is for sure. This is the side that did face Crystal Palace. Robert Sanchez in goal, made a couple of decent half saves, in fairness. Distribution fairly poor. We saw last season that he was playing it short half the time. This time he's just lumping it long and nobody's actually latching onto it. So I think if you've got Liam Delap in them particular positions where he's actually kind of a bit more of a presence in that particular role, in that number 9 sort of role, than potentially that might work, but thumping it up the pitch isn't going to work either. So if you're going to do that, you need to be placing it. 6.5 for me today, not good enough. Mark Cucurella, a shining star and a poor side in fairness, a 7.0 today. Felt like he ran himself ragged for most of the game, and I felt like he was there pretty much all the time. Out of position a few times, which nearly caught us out at moments, but I felt like he was kind of doing a lot more work than previous, and couldn't really put a foot wrong. A few poor passes, but a really good performance, a 7.0. Same for Josh, a 7.0. Really solid, made a few good tackles in the first half, a few sloppy passes, don't get me wrong, but I felt like the best is yet to come from him in fairness, and he's still a very much of a growing player, and he's got a lot of ability about him. Trevor Chalobah was my standing kind of player today in fairness, 7.5 for him today. I'm glad in some ways we have got the injuries, because that means that we aren't going to be selling Trev. He's got such ability about him, he's got such a presence in that centre-back role, and I feel like at this moment in time, he's probably our strongest centre-back. Right-hand side, I go for Reece James, 6.0. Felt like he marked Eze well, but didn't feel like he did enough in terms of the attacking prowess that he can deliver. No real balls into the box, no real moments where he really took on his man and really kind of shone through, and it was just a very tame performance for him, 6.0. Enzo Fernandez, probably the worst game I've actually seen him in a Chelsea shirt for a long time in fairness. Looked non-existent on that pitch today, looked like he was out of position, looked like he just didn't really know what he was doing with himself in fairness. Felt like he was very out of sync and out of kind of rhythm with the game, 5.0. Moises Caicedo, 7.0, very solid in the middle as always, putting in some good challenges with moments where he was able to get stuck in, and felt like he did a very good job. Moving on to the attack, Jamie Bino Gittens made his debut, and it was probably one to forget in a Chelsea shirt in fairness. Looked outnumbered, looked man-marked all the time, 2 people on him. There was a few kind of bright moments, but I can't say that anything about his game was really special in fairness. But there's still yet more to come from him, that is for sure, 5.0. And it's all for the same for Palmer and Neto. Neto was terrible today. That right-hand side, he was receiving the ball so much, but just doing nothing with it. Even when Esteval came on the left-hand side and you thought they might switch it, the ball just kept coming to his side and he just didn't know what to do with it. A lot of pace, a lot of running, a lot of movement, but nothing really done with it. So 5.0, and same as I mentioned for Cole Palmer. Really poor today, didn't really do anything. Thought he might actually have a moment in second half where he had a close free kick, but he just smashed it straight against the wall. Just didn't do anything for me today. Wasn't any little flicks, any good moments, any passes. Touch looked really off. Didn't really seem to be in position a lot, and he just seemed to be out of sorts. And same for João Pedro. As much as he had a blistering start to his life at Chelsea, he was just non-existent today. Didn't pick up the ball in good areas. Didn't seem to be able to make himself a presence in that kind of against that back four of Crystal Palace, and a very poor performance. Substitutions today where Esteval came on, I felt like he looked sharp. I felt like he brought on kind of a moment where he took on players and he looked good. Definitely a player to look out for, and a potential start for him against West Ham. You might know, I don't know, I'm not too sure. Andre Santos looked okay. Obviously a massive sitter towards the end where he could have actually taken a touch and nestled it into the corner, but unfortunately he completely latched it in, and it wasn't really the best of debuts in the Premier League for Andre Santos. And Malo Gusto came off the bench, and he was absolutely shocking. I don't really know what's happened to Malo in fairness. His first season under Pochettino was really good, but ever since I just don't really rate him. Feel like there is more to come. I feel like he's still young at the same time, but I just didn't really rate his performance today. And there was one moment where he absolutely pelted it like he was playing rugby at Twickenham, but yeah, it was a very strange one. Strange atmosphere, strange games, strange moments. Just one of those where we can kind of just write it off and forget about it and go again in fairness. And hopefully we're able to build on something that we've seen in small parts today and kind of go on to West Ham, where they want a response. They'll want a response both sides. So I feel like it's going to be an evenly matched game in the London Derby at the London Stadium. But which we'll have a preview on Thursday, because we have been playing on Friday. But until then, I hope you guys have enjoyed this review. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to also hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.